Anything that's actually wrong with me, I've managed to turn into an incredibly attractive attribute of mine, and so it's how I pick people up. One time I got a date by telling this person I couldn't read, which is not funny. At any rate, I should have laughed. So, but it wasn't. It's just sometimes I'm really shy, and I don't know. Remember when we told those girls in grade 9 that we didn't know how to read the clock? Yeah, exactly. This is a prime example is that our junior high was really mean, and we got picked on a lot, and halfway through junior high, they put a whole bunch of new girls into our school, and Sarah and I loved them. They were so cool, and they had this little gang, and they all hung out, and they didn't do drugs, or they weren't mean, and Sarah and I desperately wanted to be friends with them. And so one day we were hanging out with them at the bus stop, and Sarah asked what time it was, and they were like, oh, you don't have a watch? And Sarah's like, no, Tegan and I didn't ever learn how to read time. And they were like, yeah, right. And we kept it going for nearly a year.
I feel like when being a boy at a festival is more competitive because when you're girls, people are either like, they can sometimes be a little standoffish, like, because they're just like, who is that girl or whatever. People are nice at festivals. People are, you know what, I think we've had a better time though at the rock festivals. When we used to play the indie rock ones, no one would say hi to us, and then we played this festival last summer in Germany, and it was like Sparta, Eagles of Death Metal, I love the Chris Cornell, and like every single, and like Jimmy Eat World, and every single band came up at some point and either introduced themselves or gave us phone numbers, like friendly, like really friendly, and like wanted like, and that's like after like 6 years of trying to break into the indie rock scene where it's just like our pants aren't tight enough, our mullet isn't defined enough, like it's too hard, and then you go to a rock festival and they're like, girls, only girls on the bill, and then we're like, we're lesbians, and they're like, oh, kind of disappointing, but that's okay, we can still hang out.
When we weren't religious, our parents didn't tell us about anything religious until we were, actually, I'm not sure when they had the plan to tell us. They were both recovering Catholics, and so they didn't want to tell us anything scary until we were ready to absorb it, and so they didn't tell us anything, and when we were 5 years old, we went to have our first sleepover with non-family friends, and like they were friends of our family, but they were not family. And the kids were our age, and before we had a really wonderful sleepover and everything was good. I mean, we had a wonderful day, and then that night when we went to have the sleepover, the girl child that we slept in her room, she was used to praying, I guess, before she went to bed, and she told me and Tegan, well, she said, actually, do you know who Jesus is? And we were like, no. And then she said, well, you better take him into your heart or you will burn in the river of hell forever. That's what she said. She was 5. She was 5 years old. Anyways, that did not sound awesome. I didn't know really who Jesus was or what burning in river of hell would mean, but we were totally traumatized. We didn't do very well with change, and so we were like, we didn't even really know what death was at this point, so we were like, whatever that sounds like, it was scary. And so, anyways, my mom was really ticked off, and she didn't really want us to know about anything scary, because she wanted us to be sweet and not cry or feel scared about death. But that pretty much started us on the path of being worriers. Like, we always worried that we were going to die, or that if we were apart from each other, that the other one would die. Or like, I started to think that I had cancer in all different parts of my body. I know, it's so funny. Assholes. I'm like, yeah, I was 6 and I thought I was going to die. People are like, come on. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was cute. I mean, it was cute in that way where, like, now in retrospect, I probably seemed really sweet. That I was like, I think I'm dying. And my mom was like, you're not dying. But inside I would be like, yes, I am. Or like one time my mom took me to get an ultrasound to prove that I didn't have cancer. And then she took me to muffins afterwards to get a muffin. And that's what it was called. And after I ate the muffin, my mom was like, see, now you know because of the ultrasound that you don't have cancer. And I was like, but inside I was like, yes, I do. and
Best fast food place, because we don't really do fast food. Okay, now everybody's gonna see us in line at fast food and be like, those bitches are liars.
We don't eat it very often.
We don't eat it very often, but that's why being in Oregon is the best place to get fast food, because they have Burgerville, which is all organic. The potatoes have never been frozen. The meat has never
Sunflower
been
oil.
frozen. It's like the
All
healthiest.
free run meat.
It's free range. You said free run a couple times.
No, there's a difference between free range and free run. Yeah, there is.
Embarrassing.
It isn't embarrassing at all. I live in BC and I know free run means that it was wild and it's not in cages. Like, because free range can be like organic, not pumped full of steroids and all that stuff, but they're still in
I don't think
cages
just the
and pens.
Burgerville meat
And
was
free
running
run.
free. I think that it was just like maybe raised on a farm where like they got names.
They're
You know,
different.
like they weren't like numbers. They were like named like Bessie,
Next question.
Josie.
so stop saying die to me. You're gonna feel really sad. You better take your good arms and hug me. Oh no, yeah. I'll give you a hug, and then right afterwards, why don't you hire dancers and wear tube top on stage? My mom is gonna be so happy. We haven't hugged since we were in the womb, so that's a big step right. Anyway, so I went down the stairs and there was fire trucks and there was police cars and there was people in riot gear. And I live Stop. And I lived across the street from a metro, like a subway, and I also, next to the subway, was a bank. And so I don't speak French very well. Like I can say like I want the panini without tomato and stuff, but like I don't know how to say like what the fuck is going on. So I said to the first cop, I was in my pajamas and I had slippers on and I had my keys and I leaned out the door and I said, "What's going on?" Like, am I in danger, you know? And this cop comes over and he says, "Get out of the building, there's a bomb threat at the bank." And I was like, "You are kidding me." It was so scary. This officer, I said, "Are you serious? Like, can I not just go upstairs and get my stuff?" "No, ma'am, get out of the building, it's a bomb threat." And so it was so scary. And so I fucking went down the street and I stood there for like 20 minutes. I was freezing my ass off and I ended up realizing that I didn't have my wallet or anything, so I couldn't go. See, they didn't even laugh that time. Stop. And so, anyway,
It doesn't stop being funny.
what it made me realize was that, you know, like every person's life at that moment, like all those individual people, it was like this was a bank teller, and then the bank teller had like a partner, and then maybe the partner had kids, and then there was like an aunt and uncle. And I just thought, my God, like one little tiny bomb threat and so many people's lives. I was wandering Montreal without a bra on. I mean, who knew that my life was going to be affected in such a strange way? And all I could think was, who is the asshole who called in a bomb threat to this, like, to Desjardins? It's like the People's Bank in Montreal. Like, I just was like, kind of, like, it's like this asshole hates people or something. He hates nice people. Anyway, so I was like, it was very frustrating for me. Tegan, I'm gonna break those sticks from you. I'm gonna throw you in a jacuzzi. That seriously, this went on really, really long because Tegan started doing a soundtrack, but it was my fault. Basically, I wrote this song